Cove of Meadows. Everyone called it the boat, despite that being kind of a nickname hailing from the papers in the months leading up to the launch. Even we did good-naturedly, and eventually even Control did too. People made hats. I remember one of us waving one from the gantry, showing close-up, throwing it down, as if to a crowd for the cameras. And in truth, when it carried us out, there was as much hullabaloo as any first prospecting craft must have had on its own departure. And with the blast of the thrusters, we found our lives stretched suddenly into a future that, though planned to a degree of precision I now find hard to recall, was in retrospect just as uncertain. I closed my eyes as the path through the atmosphere blurred my vision, sinking back into the automated mental routines and checks of the months of training, and thought of everyone remotely watching us climb that hard mile shaft of rough air, peppering the ozone with our exhaust as we forced through the resilient clouds. I remembered myself as a young man, viewing the quiet tragedy of life unfold through the lens of my microscope via a time-lapse recording. I watched a bulging leukocyte chasing down a bacterium, swimming contraction waves through the dark corridors of the blood serum, silent, relentless. I saw the comparably minute bacteria pull away, moving with surprising agility, always just ahead, riding on its devourer's wake. It was desperate for escape, spastic in its speeded-up dance, and finally exhausted, engulfed by the enormity of the pulsing white blood cell. They call them simple organisms in the books. This is what I thought of as the mass of my own planet pulled on me one last time, and we were loosed of it. We were free to look back as we pushed out, free to begin the long process of checks and rechecks and flag maintenance, of getting the sleep systems up and running and getting us, the pioneers, down and into them. We were in contact with Control and, by suggestion, if not actual extension, almost the entirety of the rest of our living race, to say our farewells. And I find that I view that week of preparation and conversation from our preternaturally high base camp with a fondness that has now faded only to a faltering memory of a feeling. In the deep dream time of the sleep system, my curdling visions were moulded at their suggestion, primal dark giving way and glimmering with the tawny hair of Leaf, his eyes wide at the lush shore of half-known Vinland as it came into view through the Pacific haze. The colours were stunning. The memory of that, even, is vague now, as vague as anything here, and I find myself returning to it again and again. How often it is hard to tell. And then, with a taste of salt and the breaking of the surf-swelled moment, I awoke, boundlessly far from where we had departed. For months we studied the coastline from orbit, assessing the curves of the continents, weighing the tremendous slow beauty of their creation against our chances of survival on them. And from orbit I peered closer, studying the spits and coves. I increased the resolution, trying for higher clarity, and followed the clear demarcation as it zigzagged beneath me. I looked down on the crooked landmass and watched its outer edge kink and swirl, pushed out by unknowable forces for millennia, the movement of the land as it fought to become the shore. As I moved in, the ground, the boundary, I should say, the boundary between the two, between what we had defined as the land and as the sea, that boundary took on a serenity I had not seen before. The shoreline is tooled, railed into a gleaming, flat shape as if by hand unseen. The coast recedes into the distance, either side a mirror, as devoid of feature as it is unlivulging of mystery. I sometimes think in a perverse way that I may have conquered the measurement, or it has conquered me. Even our highest levels of zoom reveal more of the same straight edge, and I wonder vaguely which part of it we eventually landed on. Whether it is I who stand by its edge, marvelling at the total flatness through the electron analysis machine, or whether I see us all from incalculably far above, standing on that self-same shoreline at an aspect of 10 to the power of several 100,000. The point has become moot. It's unknowable. In the unerring line, I see in what I once perceived as wonderment a kind of vindictiveness. We have become intensely bored of the view. I stand on this level plane and I watch the absolutely unmoving sea. I see the point where they meet as a membrane, flat, unyielding. I picture the firs and rough-sown Hessian as they dismount from the longboat. I see the reflection in their uncomprehending eyes. I wonder about their measuring instruments. My grasp of the finer points of history is no longer good. It has been suggested that we've never left the boat. I thought that if I zoomed in far enough, I should be able to see the numbers marked on the hull, see myself there too, peering at them on some super microscopic level. I thought of the prows of the ships, and their oars, worn flat by the overwhelming saline attrition of the sea. I thought of the smooth movement of the outer membrane of the leukocyte as it overtook the bacteria so many years ago, and the brief moment that the bacteria still twitched and swam within its boundary before becoming still, so close to escape, still so much measurably less than a hair's breadth away from being unconsumed. Thanks very much for having my story in the future. My piece relies on a very scant knowledge of Nordic history, so I'm going to fill you in just really briefly now, in case anyone doesn't know about Leif Erikson, who was an Icelandic explorer, considered by some as the first European to land in North America before Christopher Columbus. I think it was about 500 years before Christopher Columbus. He established a settlement known as Vinland, which was on the northern tip of Newfoundland in modern-day Canada, identified as the North's Cove of Meadows. And yeah, their settlement there didn't go very well. They found a place where they could see self-sown wheat fields and grapevines, and they settled there for a winter, and the winter was very harsh, and I don't think the natives were very friendly. A lot of them died, so they went back again. So it was a failed attempt, but still, you know, it was their first. So then, and also I praise you this with a snippet of a book called The Ship by a German author called Hans-Hanni Jahn, and the quote says, "A green field is turned into a cemetery, something painful which presumes to have joy and progress for its goals, and the starry sky is an image pure enough for all eternity."